Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't already know me, my name is Yasmin and I'm 17 years old. So as most of you already know, I'm currently a student at McGill University and I'm going into my second year. In one of my other videos, I mentioned that I lived in the United Arab Emirates my entire life. So since I decided to study abroad, in August 2019, I moved for the first time in my life to the beautiful city of Montreal. Currently my favorite city in the world. So the last time I visited Montreal before moving here was 11 years ago. So when I moved here, I didn't know much. I actually didn't know anything at all. But I have been here for around 10 months now, so I think it's safe to say that I know Montreal like the back of my hand. And I know some of you guys already reached out to me and asked me a lot about my experience moving here and what it's like and all the things you should know. So I decided to put together a little video and talk about 20 things you should know before moving to Montreal. So first things first, hundreds of thousands of students move to Montreal for university, and for that reason the student life here is big. Montreal is actually the student capital of North America. So I guess you could say it's more or less of a student city. In my personal experience, of course, moving abroad comes with its difficulties. A lot of difficulties, but because Montreal is a student city, I didn't find it that hard to adapt and it didn't take me that long to adapt because I see that the way of life here is very convenient for students. So like I said, you will find students from all around the world here, and for that reason the city is very multicultural, and that's something that I value a lot because personally one of my best experiences here was meeting people from all around the world and learning about their different cultures and their different traditions and their different traditions and their different ways of life. And something that I found so beautiful was the fact that even though all of us have our differences and we all come from different backgrounds, we all moved here for the sole purpose of getting an education, getting a degree. We all have that same goal. Personally, what I love most about this city is that it's not just its people that's diverse, but the city itself is diverse. I go on a lot of walks so I can discover the city and visit new areas, and every time I end up in a new area, I feel like I'm in a new city or in a new town with new people surrounded by me because, like I said, the city is so diverse and there's literally a place for everyone and everything. Okay, so for those of you who don't already know this, Montreal is in the province of Quebec in Canada, obviously. But Quebec is a French province, so French is the first language. However, Montreal is bilingual, so it's not impossible to survive here if you move here and you only speak English. I mean, I was able to survive and so did all the other international students. So it is very possible to get around if you don't know French, but if you do, it will make a huge difference. I do have to say that the language barrier kind of made it difficult for me when I first moved here because what I didn't know was all the street signs were in French. The lady who speaks at the metro, like the whole announcement, whatever, she only speaks in French. The first day I was here, I actually went into Subway to get a sandwich. The menu was in French. Sometimes when I go to the suburbs, so you're not like in the downtown of Montreal or you're not in the city around so many international students and all of that, people only spoke to me in French, so I found it really hard to get around, especially when I wanted to use public transport and all of that. However, eventually you do learn it. When you get so used to the city and you already know your way around, you eventually learn some words after reading the signs because you actually know where you are, or you know how the metro works or what's happening, so you eventually learn some words from what the lady in the speakerphone says and all of that. So like I said, French is the first language, so my advice to you would be to at least learn the basics before you come, or at least in the first period of time that you're here, because first of all, it is going to make your life so much easier. And second, it would be best for you to learn a bit of French here and there out of respect for the Quebecois and their culture. So since I mentioned menus earlier, it's time to talk about food. I mean, in my opinion, this city has the best food. However, it has the worst fast food I've ever tasted in my life. McDonald's is a big no-no for me here. Back home, I used to have McDonald's maybe daily. I know it's unhealthy, I'm not proud of that, but I used to love it there. But here I just cannot have it. But honestly, it didn't really make much of a difference for me. Like, it wasn't really a big deal because when I go visit my friends in different cities in Canada, one of the first things that I noticed is that restaurant food in Montreal is actually 2 or 3 times cheaper than it is in other cities. So I mean, you've got good food and you've got affordable prices. I mean, I would say that's a win-win situation. So speaking of food, I just have to mention that brunch culture here is a thing, and it is huge. If you're going out to eat, 9 times out of 10, you're going out for brunch. So something that made a huge difference for me, and anyone who wants to move to Montreal or even visit Montreal, listen to me carefully, okay? So if you're searching for restaurants or what events are happening during the weekend or what new deals are being offered where, or what you can do outside Quebec City, what you can do in Montreal City, literally anything at all, anything you can imagine, or anything to keep up with Montreal news, you need to keep yourself posted with Montreal blog. It is a necessity, and it made the biggest difference for me because anytime I wanted to visit a new place, or like I said, I like to walk around and discover the city a lot, so I'd always find new things to do, and I would find a bunch of festivals, a bunch of events, anything fun, whether it's for free or with money or whatever it is you can do in this city in the winter or in summer. I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to keep yourself posted with this blog. So yes, you'll find a lot of activities that you can do in Montreal on MTL blog. However, Montreal is filled with nature. So if you're the type of person who enjoys being outdoors more, first of all, not only is it gorgeous, but you can also find a bunch of things on MTL blog on all the things you can do outdoors in whatever season you want to do it in. So, speaking of activities and events and all of that jazz, if you are someone who likes to party, then Montreal is the place for you because the nightlife here is huge. It's insane. There's never a single night where something isn't going on. I mean, obviously nothing's going on right now. There's always a party. And it's not like everyone hits the pillow at 2 a.m. People will literally party non-stop until the sun comes up. So yes, it is a party city. There is a big party vibe. However, something that I wanted to mention is that if you're a student and you're underage, you shouldn't be worried about that. I mean, I'm 17 and I'm underage, but I still got to have so much fun and I still got to go to a million parties. You don't need a fake ID to have fun, and you don't need a fake ID to get into places. Because like I said, the city is so diverse, so there's something for everything and everyone. Like, I really cannot emphasize enough how if you're a uni student, your age really doesn't matter. There's always something going on, there's always a party, there's always a festival, there's always a concert, there's always fun. But if you are underage and you are worried about missing out on the uni experience, then take it from me. If you're moving here, that's something that you really don't need to worry about. So whatever it is that you're doing on a Friday night or any night, make sure you dress up and look nice, because honestly, something that I was not expecting is that everyone in this city is too good looking. Like, everyone is more stylish than you. Everyone always looks good. Honestly, it's very motivational. It's encouraging. It makes you want to get up and get dressed and have fun, you know? Every time I cross strangers on the street, I feel like I'm passing by a bunch of models that were picked out from catalogs. So one of the most things I was excited about when I moved here was going to festivals. But for the small part of summer where I was here, there was literally a festival every single day, and honestly, it keeps you on your feet. It motivates you to get up and get dressed and go out with your friends and have fun every single day of summer. My original plan for my summer break was to stay here an extra month or 2 before I decided to go back home, because I really wanted to experience the Montreal summer that everyone always talks about. So given the situation, I obviously have not experienced that. But what I can say is that every single person that I've talked to has talked about how crazy Montreal summer is, and that there's no city that does it like this city. So you're not just gonna get caught up in a ton of festivals, but you're also gonna get caught up in a ton of protests. So where I used to live, it actually was against the law to protest, so I never experienced that. However, when I came here, that's one of the first things I wanted to participate in, because personally, I'm just the type of person who's really maybe too passionate about what I believe in or what I care about, and I'm the type of person, I fully believe that activism works. So whenever there was a cause and it was something that I really wanted to fight for, it felt very empowering because I got to do more than just post on social media and just spread awareness. I actually got to participate in a protest. I get to march with a bunch of other people who believe the same thing as me, and we're fighting for the same thing. It's, I don't know, personally I just find it such an empowering experience. It's really nice. Okay, maybe I get a bit too excited about things, but I don't know, it's the first year that I got to experience it. So I mean, if you're anything like me, then that's an advantage you're gonna have when you move to the city. So a tip I have for all of you guys is be prepared for a lot of walking. Back home, I wouldn't bother walking anywhere if it was more than 5 minutes away. But now a 45-minute walk literally feels like a 15-20 minute walk. The reason that you're going to be walking so much is because it's actually so easy to get around. I feel like it's a walking city. And not just that, it's also very cycling friendly. There's always people biking on the street, and sometimes they can get a little too aggressive. If you don't want to walk, that is an alternative. In my opinion, if you're a student and you desperately want to drive, I would say it's not worth it because it is such a busy city and there's always traffic. So first of all, it's faster for you to walk. And if you want to go somewhere far, or if it's too cold for you to walk outside, then public transportation is available, and take advantage of the public transportation because it is very affordable. It is going to make your winters so much easier, and relative to the rest of Canada, public transportation in Montreal is actually very, very affordable. However, it is not just transportation that is so much more affordable relative to the rest of Canada, but so is renting or buying houses. And this is a big advantage not just for students but for anyone who wants to move here. If you're a student and you have a limited budget, and I wouldn't really say that's a big problem because it really varies based on what you're prioritizing. Like if you're for example, if you're a McGill student and you're prioritizing being next to campus, then you'd live in the McGill ghetto, which is literally a second away from campus. So from what I've learned from other students is that the apartments in the ghetto, I mean obviously when you split it with roommates, are very budget friendly. However, like I said, it is depending on what you prioritize. For example, the houses or the apartments in the ghetto are really old, so obviously the facilities won't be the same as the facilities in a new building. So if you don't really care about living literally a second away from campus and you prioritize like living in a building that has security and a pool and a gym and all of that, then you still can find apartments like that for affordable prices. Because when I visit my friends, what I notice is that a lot of them live in the same building, so they all have access to the same things: the pool, the security, the gym, the whatever it is that you're looking for, new facilities, but each apartment is different. One was a studio, one was a 1-bedroom, one was a 2-bedroom, one was a 3-bedroom, and they're all in the same building, so you can still find what you're looking for and still have it be budget friendly. I mean, obviously if you choose a newer building that has more facilities, more things that are convenient for you, and it's in the heart of downtown, then it's going to be a bit more expensive than living in the ghetto, but it's not such a significant difference that you can cut it out of your options, you know, like you will have a lot of options. I know students that live in the ghetto that literally they're roommates and each one pays rent for a whole apartment with a kitchen and a massive room and all of that, and it's only half the rent when you're comparing it to one tiny room in a townhouse in Toronto. So something that I would like to mention that I wish I knew before, not for any reason, it wouldn't have made a difference, but it's just good to know, is that there is a lot of construction in this city and it's non-stop. I think the reason that I'm mentioning this is because I had such a horrible experience in the winter because of the construction, and I'm gonna explain the story. But basically what happened is I was going grocery shopping, and the grocery store is probably like a 5-minute walk from my place. I was so excited to go grocery shopping and all because I love grocery shopping. And then I noticed that there's so much construction on the way, so it took me so much longer to get there. But that was fine, that wasn't the problem. It was the middle of October and it was supposed to rain sometime later in the day, but I made sure to go before so I can get home before it starts to rain. So the second I stepped out of that grocery store, all I felt was water up to my ankles, and it was raining like there was no tomorrow. And because of the construction, instead of taking me 5 minutes to get home, it took me 25 minutes with heavy groceries in the rain. I got sick. $200 worth of groceries got absolutely destroyed. So for that particular reason, I find the construction very annoying, and I don't know, I just thought I should mention that. Since I mentioned the rain, I'm gonna be talking about our winters. So it's not new news that Canada is literally an ice cube. So for that reason, the winters here are very, very harsh. So if you're planning on moving here, you need to mentally be prepared for the fact that it's gonna be winter 8 to 9 months of the whole year. And the reason that I'm saying is that you need to be mentally prepared for that is because seasonal depression is a thing. It's hard if you're moving from the desert like I did, or from sunny California to a place where there's gonna be gloomy skies very often and it's gonna be snowing very often. Back where I used to live, we only had one season, summer. Like I said, it is 8 to 9 months of the entire year. So something else you need to be prepared for is investing in good winter jackets and good winter boots, because when it gets to the point where it's like -30, you're gonna need your boots that are made for -30-degree weather. You're gonna need your jacket that's made for -30-degree weather, because the cold hurts, and I mean physically, like your bones are going to ache, especially if you're like me and you're just not adapted to that kind of weather. Make sure you are prepared both mentally and in terms of clothes. Something that anyone who has lived in Montreal can agree on is that February is the worst month in winter. However, that month does pass the quickest, so I guess it's like a win-lose situation. But the thing about February is that you would literally be locked in your house 24/7. So eventually you will get used to the winter. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna hate it, but you're gonna get used to it. But something that I wish I knew, and I don't think I will ever get used to, is the fact that the weather here is so freaking bipolar. It's insane. When summertime comes around, like right now, don't do my mistake and put all your winter clothes in storage, because right now it's 6 degrees and it's raining, which is why there's actually no light, because it's so gloomy today. But yeah, 6 degrees in summer, in June. So this next tip is just gonna be a bit random, but something that I think is important to say is that jaywalking is the Montreal way of life. However, if you do it, you will get caught and you will get slapped with a fat fine. So just don't do it. It's really not worth it. So kind of another random tip or fact that I have for you guys is that if you're gonna use an escalator and you're gonna stand, then you stand on the right side. But if you're gonna walk, then you walk on the left side. And I feel like maybe this is normal in some places, but back home that just wasn't really a thing. So when I first came here and I was using the escalator and I was standing on the left side and I had my earphones in and I'm jamming and I'm living my life, and then someone just starts screaming at me in French, of course, so I didn't really understand, so I didn't know what was going on. My sister was like, the left side is only for people who are walking, the right side is for when people are standing, and I was like, that makes so much sense. So I'm just letting you guys know that so you don't get screamed at like I did. My last tip slash fact slash thing you need to know before moving to Montreal is it is called a dépanneur, not a convenience store. I mean, if you want to be cute, you can call it Dep for short. I remember asking one of my friends like, oh, is there like a convenience store near? I just want some gum. And then she was like,
please, Yasmin, like it's called a Dep.
Okay guys, so I just want to close off this video saying that Montreal is a beautiful European-like half city, half suburb, wonderful place to live in, and I'm so grateful and thankful that I actually had the opportunity to move here. I think that's one of the best decisions I ever made. I know I say this a lot, but it is my favorite city ever, and if you guys are planning on moving here soon, then I really hope that this video was helpful, and whether or not you are planning on moving here, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget, as always, comment down below or DM me or anything. Let me know if there's anything specifically that you want me to record or blog or whatever it is that you want me to talk about. I am more than happy to do it. So I'll see you guys next week.